Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. It's Megan, the VoIP Brand Manager from Soft Solutions. We're just going to wait about another minute for the last few people to log on, and then we will walk through the roadmap that has been released, and between Matt and I, we'll pick out the highlights as we see it of what's coming on that roadmap. So we'll just wait another minute or so and then we'll get going. If you can confirm you can hear me okay via the chat, that would be fantastic.
Cool, thank you.
All right, I think we'll get started. It's midday. So welcome everybody and thanks for joining us today. You're with Megan, the VoIP Brand Manager, and Matt, our Senior Engineer.
Hello.
So the purpose of today is just to explore a little further the 3CX version 16 roadmap that has been released by 3CX. It's quite unusual for a company to release in quite a lot of detail what is on their roadmap, and we're excited about it. This is as a result of Nick Galea moving into his CTO role and his focus around the development of 3CX. So we're expecting to see some exciting developments that aren't even on the roadmap as well. So we'll get cracking with what we do know to date. So update 4 is actually already in alpha, went to alpha just on a week ago. And update 5 is expected around about Christmas, New Year. So I guess that's going to be dependent on update 4 going through its beta process and to a live update. And for the first time in a really, really long time, they're even talking about as far as update 7 for version 16. So I think as far as Matt and I can ever remember, we've only ever got to update 6. And what we're also going to do is just look at who's eligible for the updates and how you access those updates.
Yep, so we just had the first alpha come out for update 4. It actually came out a little later than we expected. So notably now there is a new Google extension that's available for Chrome for the 3CX web client. So previously, or currently I should say, to use the web client you need to have a tab bookmarked within the browser for it to be easily used. With this extension, it can be centrally deployed across an entire site as well. 3CX just put a blog post out around that, so that's pretty exciting. So with this installed, you basically don't have to have the browser open. So you have full transparency, which is really exciting. And we've got some new CRM and Office integration in there as well, without having to leave the window. And probably the one so far I'm most excited about is improvements to offsite backups. So we've got secure FTP in there, and also we've got the ability now to go to an SMB share. So if you have a mapped drive or a NAS or something locally on site, you can send backups there as well. And that was highly requested. And again, it's just another example of 3CX listening to the feedback from the community.
Absolutely, and I guess just to reiterate again, update 4 is alpha, so it is not recommended for production sites. Same when it goes to beta, so it is very much there for testing with your NFRs. So everybody has an NFR as part of their 3CX partnership. Those are accessed from within your partner portal, and everybody has enterprise. So affiliate partners have a 4 simultaneous call enterprise, and everybody else has a 32 simultaneous call enterprise NFR license. So well worth setting that up and having a play and looking at the new functionality that is around the corner.
Absolutely, and for any of these updates as well as they come out, there's always a change log, which I like to go through line by line. So there are numerous bug fixes in this alpha as well, which is very cool to see.
All right, so as we said, update 5, they're saying beta released before Christmas, New Year, but obviously it is a fluid movement. So one of the key things there is a WordPress chat plugin, which is based on feedback that's come through the forums, etc. So that will bring more improvements to that plugin. And then Matt's very excited about this one, so I'll let Matt talk about the SMS support that's coming.
Yeah, so there still isn't a lot of detail around what it's going to look like, but with update 5, they've mentioned that there is going to be SMS support coming. I'm not sure. I don't believe, and this is just guessing here, this hasn't been made official. I think it will be a service like web meeting rather than requiring a GSM gateway or something like that. So that has been highly requested as well. A lot of other PBX systems out there currently do support sending and receiving SMS. So that should be coming into update 5. So we'll be waiting very patiently as possible to see what that involves for early testing.
Absolutely, and an exciting pathway that 3CX are heading down. So obviously the details on update 5, and we'll have a look at 6 and 7 in a moment as well, are very light at this stage, but as more information comes through, we'll obviously be sharing that with you via our VoIP updates and in our weekly newsletters, etc. as well. So there's some exciting stuff that people have been asking for a long time on the forums. I like to call Matt the serial stalker of the 3CX forums, because one of his tasks is actually to rabbit through there and see what's been asked, make sure that anything we know that we're wanting and our customers are wanting is being asked in there, and keeping an eye on developments. So and 3CX actively work through there. Nick Galea trawls through there all the time, which is really promising.
Absolutely. And update 6 and 7. So what we've come across a fair bit currently, well, as Megan noted, we've never seen a version 7 before, so maybe we might be seeing update 7, sorry, update 7. I was getting ahead of myself. I would maybe think there might be a new version at that point, but that's just guessing. There's nothing official about that. But what is cool is the support for Debian 10. So a lot of people were virtualizing 3CX. A lot are still doing on-prem with something like an i5 NUC, which is really popular. The problem with the 8th gen NUCs is their current network interface controller isn't supported on Debian 9. So rolling out 3CX, you do need an older version NUC. With the Debian 10 support, this problem goes away. If you guys do come across that issue, we do have a bit of a workaround that I discovered on the forums that we can send out to you guys. Basically, it's a way of stepping back as a workaround. And when I say stepping back, it's backtracking on some of the drivers. So we do have that hot fix available if you guys come up across this. But again, most of you are probably virtualizing or something like that in the first place. But yeah. We'll see an upgrade to the new .NET Core, so there'll be additional functionality in there as well. And now for the maybes. So they're looking at potential Raspberry Pi 64-bit support, which will be very, very cool. Of course, for the 8 simultaneous Cool Free works on a Raspberry Pi at the moment, but it is very lightweight. They're discussing things around improved failover as well, and investigating improvements around outbound caller ID. So this is coming along the lines of some companies, like it may be a shared working space or something like that, using hot desking and then being able to present the company's caller ID from a shared space. So definitely say watch that space. And recently we've had the new iOS and Android apps that have been released with the new user interface and all the new goodness in there. And they're looking at introducing the new Google and Apple APIs into these apps in update 6 or 7 as well. So we should see some more functionality coming out, and I think a big focus there is going to be around the video calling from within the client as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, based on the information we do have to hand, updates 6 and 7, we're sort of talking towards the end of Q1 next year,
Mm.
sort of, March, April, possibly into Q2. But it's all going to depend on the alpha beta process for updates 4 and 5. And we're excited that update 4 is already well in the works. So it's a really positive step forward. So in terms of who's eligible for updates, if you're running perpetual licenses, you must have current maintenance. If you're on a subscription, you're considered to have current maintenance at all times because you have a subscription. So that even counts for the free subscriptions of standard 8 simultaneous call for version 16. Really important to ensure that all your customers' maintenance for perpetual licenses is current. So when a maintenance expires, there is a 90-day window to be able to renew that maintenance. But while it is expired, things like web meeting don't work, you don't have access to the apps for your iOS and Android devices. And a number of other functionalities to do with SSL certificates, etc. After 90 days, there is actually no option to renew that license. You can trade it in for a subscription. And you have 180 days basically to do that after that point. And at day 271, 3CX will actually trade that license for a subscription license. So it is important for your perpetual customers that have invested into 3CX to keep that maintenance current and be able to access these updates. Now, because they will be updates, they will be inline upgrades for both Windows and Linux. If you have auto updates turned on, remember they will automatically update. That's something that Matt strongly recommends you don't have turned on. Just from the perspective of you want to control when you install those updates and upgrades. Obviously, the alpha and beta process is very robust, and we've seen the standard that we normally see as alpha for 2 weeks, beta for 2 weeks, and then release with update 3, which is the current supported version. That actually took a longer process. It was, what was it, Matt? About 5 weeks at alpha and 3 at beta, something like that. It was a much longer process, just due to the feedback of the beta testing, etc. So yeah, just remember how those work.
Yep, absolutely. And hopefully when we do see the next version of 3CX, whether it's version 17 or skipping numbers, I don't know. The reason for moving from 15.5 to 16 on Windows, it required a backup, uninstall, reinstall like you used to do back in the day. The reason for this was around the new call flow designer. It adds an additional system service, and how Windows works with its admin privileges. When you're doing a update from within 3CX, Windows won't give it the ability to add additional services, so that is why it required the backup, uninstall, and then restore. So hopefully it might be a smoother transition with the next version as well, which is exciting.
So that is the rundown of the roadmap as we know it today. Obviously, we are checking for updates on a regular basis, and we will be advising you via our VoIP update emails, our weekly newsletters. If it's significant news, it'll pop in there. If you're not a member of our LinkedIn group community, reach out to me and I can send you an invite. So we have a closed VoIP LinkedIn Soft Solutions VoIP community, and Matt and I post in there regularly, and even things like just posting links to the latest blogs, to our emails that have gone out, those types of things, just to make sure that if you miss it one way, you see it another way. So if you are not receiving that or are not part of that community, reach out and we can get you hooked up to join in and hear what is happening. I know sometimes it does feel like we're flooding with information, but we're just trying to keep you all updated with the latest news of what is coming from 3CX and our other VoIP brands such as Grandstream as well. Grandstream also have a very exciting product roadmap for the next 9 months. So it's exciting times as we head into 2020. Now, if there's any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat window and we'll try and answer those right now for you. If you come up with any questions after the webinar or have any pressing queries, you can reach out to either Matt or myself directly. So our emails are just megan@softsoul.co.nz or matt@softsoul.co.nz, or if you're ever in doubt, voip@softsoul.co.nz and we can assist. Anything you want to add, Matt?
No, that was pretty good. So yeah, it's
Excellent.
going to be very exciting to see what 2020 holds with new functionality in 3CX. And yeah, again, I'm just really, really stoked around the SMS abilities. I think that's really going to add a lot of value.
No
Cool, no
questions
questions.
coming in there?
No, I guess we'll wrap it up.
All right. So thank you everybody for joining us for one of our little bites of webinars. We are hosting another webinar on Thursday at midday. If you haven't yet registered, please go ahead and do so for that. In that webinar, we're going to have a look at the latest on 3CX's live chat and what the benefits of the live chat are, and where you can think of an upsell for your customers of the functionality that is within the live chat. So that's what we'll be covering off on Thursday at lunchtime. So thanks again for joining us, and we will catch you in our next webinar.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.